Go from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, you probably guessed from the title, we are doing another Netflix recommendations. I feel like I've done so much on my channel, but they seem to be so well received by you guys. To be honest, I'm quite addicted and obsessed with doing them myself. You seem to love them. You seem to be sharing your own recommendations with me, which I absolutely love. We get to fangirl, we get to just tell each other's recommendations, and I just love that. So I kind of want to make this like a monthly reoccurring thing. The last one I did was the 6th of January. It is now the 8th of February, so I'm gonna probably keep this up. If you haven't seen any of my Netflix recommendations, I'll put them up on the screen for you. Make sure you go and check them out, because I must admit they are some good series on there. And without further ado, if you are interested to see what I recommend again for you guys, just keep on watching. So the first one I got is Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and to be honest, I feel like this is already a really well-known and well-loved program, but if you haven't seen it, you need to go and check it out now. It is finished. You don't even have to wait for another season to come out. If you want to binge a series, this is one that you can binge because it's all done, it's all finished. I really like this one because it is a dark spin-off to Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's more for, like, I would say your topper half of teenagers, maybe, because it is based on like demons and the devil, Lucifer. It's based on the occult, and the witches live with the mortals. The mortals don't actually know that witches exist, but these witches have their like kind of cult where they study at a special school and they have to deal with a lot of demons, etc. And they have to worship the devil because it's kind of like the devil's gift to them to be witches, to have magical powers. But Sabrina, she is half witch and half mortal. Her mum was mortal, her dad was a warlock. She does kind of like battle her mind to be like more mortal or a witch as such. She wants to have the best of both worlds, but she can't necessarily. She is looked down upon because also she is a mortal and she isn't a full witch. With that, obviously there comes a lot of barriers, there comes a lot of challenges, and you just have to watch it because I loved it. So the next one I have is I Am Killer. So I Am Killer actually is based on a lot of people that have committed crimes, committed murders as such, as per the title. So the I Am Killer actually shows never seen before footages of interviews with the so-called killers. They get to explain what had happened during the crime. They give you really in-depth like details in regards to committing a crime, what happened, why did they commit it, do they feel remorse, do they regret it, and these killers are facing death row. So you just get more of an in-depth story and just more from them, because I think as human beings, like people that don't commit those crimes and stuff, we can't begin to fathom why someone could do some horrible crimes and horrible acts. So I find like that this is so fascinating to actually just get within the mind of a killer, you know, so they can speak about their experience and why did they do it and what led them to it, etc. Some of them, I'm not gonna lie, try to pull the wool over your eyes and try and make you feel more sympathetic to them, but you committed a crime. Some of them aren't just like that. You do get people that you do generally feel sorry for. For example, this woman, she euthanized, I think it was her boyfriend at the time who was ill, who wanted to be euthanized. She got caught and then she's on death row. There are some stories that are quite compelling and are quite sad, but then there are also stories where you're just left feeling so angry. You're just like, you know, when you just hear those like stories and you just get mad and you're just like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know? Firefly Lane. So this is quite a newly discovered one. This actually has recently just come out on Netflix in 2021 this month. In the UK's Netflix, it is currently trending #1. So people obviously are very interested in this. So Firefly Lane is based around two women that are best friends, Tully and Kate. They've been best friends since they were teenagers up until they're in their 40s. So they've had like 30 years of friendship. And this series follows around them two and kind of like just shows you what their friendship was like when they first started up until now, the challenges that they've had to face within their relationship, the challenges that they've had to face even now and in the past, and just kind of like the cracks in a friendship. It's really hard to explain this one because these two women love each other so much because they've been through so much, they've shared so much with each other, but at the same time they're polar opposites. So one person, which is Kate, she's very quiet, she's a good girl, she had an okay upbringing with her family, and Tully, she had a really bad upbringing. She used to live with her grandparents. Her mum was a raging alcoholic. I think she also took other substances as well. She was forced to live with her mother again, and that's how she became friends with Kate. But Tully is, because of her broken household and everything, she's always been a bit more of a break the rules kind of girl. You know, she didn't listen to people, she did whatever she wanted, she didn't have curfews, you know, she'd go out drinking, she'd go out partying, she would get with other guys and stuff, whereas Kate was completely different. But I feel like that's why they were so good for each other, because they were polar opposites and they helped balance each other out. But because of them being polar opposites, they do come with their challenges even when they were teenagers up until when they're adults. Despite loving each other so much, there are a few, like, I would say, cracks in the relationship that begins to show now that they are older. So the fourth one that I have is The Sinner. So if you haven't heard this one, you're probably living under a rock, because I think a lot of people have watched it. Why is my voice going like that? I think a lot of people have seen it, maybe not. I'm not really sure. The Sinner is about this detective called Harry Ambrose, who basically looks into heinous crimes. So these are like really weird crimes that are just like out of the ordinary. Like someone would murder someone, but it wouldn't make sense as to why this person had murdered that other person. Harry Ambrose is very interested in the psyche and, you know, likes to investigate why would someone commit that crime. Like, is there something underlying that's made in the way that they are committing these crimes? They have 3 seasons on there so far on Netflix, but they're all followed different crimes, but you have to watch them in order because that's how you get to, ow, I just hit my face. That's how excited I am about these. I can't control these. And some people like to point out that I'm too much handsy, but that's me, okay? That's me. You have to watch all seasons in order because Harry Ambrose is the only reoccurring character that you really get to know inside out. He also has his own problems and his traumas, which makes him the way that he is, which makes you understand why he is very interested to find out about people's psyche, people's underlying roots as to why they commit these crimes. First season is about this woman. She goes on the beach with her little boy and her husband and literally just randomly stabs someone out of nowhere on the beach and just kills him. And everyone's a bit shocked because it's out of character, number one, because she is not that sort of person. Number two, she's just not that kind of person. And number three, she done it in front of her kid and she doesn't know this person. Harry Ambrose finds this case really interesting. Everybody is just seeing it as a typical homicide, a typical murder. For him, he sees it as something different. He believes that there is some sort of trauma behind that that's led her to do this, and he really wants to find out why and try and actually get her with a limited sentence, because he doesn't believe that she would just do it because she wants to. Do you know what I mean? The next one I have is Criminal. So Criminal is a series that this one I'm going to find really, really difficult to explain, but you're just going to have to bear with me. It's based on loads of different stories within a season. So each episode is a different story. You can watch them in whatever order that you want. It's based on these, I would say, police officers that are trying to get answers as to why people have committed crimes or why they've committed crimes. It's like a typical questioning. So in America, over here, you have like a questioning booth or whatever you call it, that room that you get questioned for. Where was you at the time of this crime? You know, like, this is what happened. I see these tire marks and these tire marks match your car, and why is your car at that scene? Do you know what I mean? So that's what that room is. It's one of those questioning rooms, but it has a different take on it, as in you have loads of people watching, you have a timer, and you also have one person that collects all the evidence and passes on the information to the person who is questioning the potential criminal. You have different crimes such as people like drug trafficking, human trafficking, murder. The list is endless, basically. Do you know what? If anybody can explain this better than me, write it down in the comments down below, because I'm not doing this any justice. But I'm hoping the trailer that I'm showing you in between these clips kind of gives you an inkling of what's going on. The longer the episode goes on, the more questions are thrown and the more pieces start to fall together for the people that are questioning and for the criminals. Criminals tend to break, or criminals tend to have stupid stories to say that they weren't the ones who committed the crime, and the people who are questioning it know that that person has committed the crime, but they need to get it on tape. They need to get that person to either confess or piece everything together to know that they have committed the crime. Does that make sense? So they do have a timer that they can only hold person for, I think, 48 hours or 72 hours. If they don't get an answer or they don't get a little confession, unfortunately that criminal does get to walk free and you can't actually convict them for the crime. So this is a short Netflix recommendations. But last but not least, we do have Atypical. I think a new season is coming out, and if it is, I cannot wait. So Atypical follows this young boy called Sam who has autism. Throughout his whole life, he has been looked after. His sister has looked after him, his mum and dad has looked after him. Everybody has done things for him, but as he is growing up, he kind of wants to get in a relationship. He kind of wants to enter the romance world. He wants to just enter that world. He's realizing he's getting older and he just wants to experience what normal human beings experience. But because he wants to do that, it does cause challenges and barriers and problems for other people in his life, such as his mum, such as his dad and his sister. His sister has always been used to living in his shadow because his parents have always looked after him, and she's always been there to kind of like fend for herself and grow up a lot more quicker than she was meant to by looking after him. And when he decided to become more independent, it kind of shone a light on her. So things that she weren't necessarily going to get away with, she can no longer get away with. His mum kind of has like a midlife crisis because all she's ever done is look after him, and now that he's becoming more independent or struggling to be independent, she doesn't really know what to do with her life and her time, so she ends up having problems and she starts to think about other things. I kind of like this one as well because it normalizes these sorts of issues that people have. Yeah, and I just love it, and I definitely think it is a must watch if you want something that's lighthearted, very easy to watch, deals with real life issues and real life problems that people have. It's so realistic and so close to reality, and that's what I generally really like. Okay guys, so that's all my recommendations for February 2021. It's not a lot, I know. I'm still waiting for all the new releases. If you haven't seen my last most anticipated Netflix recommendations, I highly recommend that you go and check that out, because that's me talking about how I've been waiting for literally everything and I can't wait for certain series to come out. I'm trying to fill the void in my heart for the lack of programs on Netflix. If you don't want to miss any more Netflix recommendations, because like I said, I want to do them monthly, don't forget to subscribe because I do share some really good ones. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, smash that bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. I hope you stick around, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!
How come the stars don't shine when it's day?